Spread love, man.
Here's the time to act. When the idea is hot and the emotion is strong. That's the time to act. You say, Mr. Rohn, I'd like to have a library like yours. See, if you feel strong about that, what you got to do is get the first book and then get the second book. Before the feeling passes and before the idea gets dim, action pronto, action immediate, action as soon as possible. Because if you don't, here's what happens. We call it the law of diminishing intent. We intend to when the idea strikes us. We intend to when the emotion is high. But now if you don't translate that into action fairly soon, now the intent starts to diminish. And a month from now it's cold. A year from now, can't be found. So act. Set up a discipline when the emotions are high and the idea is strong and clear and powerful. That's the time to set up the discipline. Somebody talks about good health and you're stirred. Right. You need to get a book on nutrition. Get the book before the idea passes and before the emotion gets cold. Go for the book. Start the library. Start the process. Fall on the floor. Do some push-ups. Action. Gotta take action.
Welcome back, everybody. We had a ton of requests to deep dive into some Jim Rohn, specifically a motivational speech of his called Time to Act.
Yeah, this one really resonated with a lot of people, it seems.
It definitely did. So we'll see if we can unpack his ideas about action and discipline and see if they can help us in our own lives.
Sounds good.
So if you've ever felt that pang of, I'll do it tomorrow, and then tomorrow never quite comes,
Oh, yeah.
you're in good company. Jim Rohn calls this the law of diminishing intent.
It's so true, isn't it? Like, we get all fired up to learn a new language.
Right.
Or finally start that business we've been dreaming of.
Buy all the books and everything.
Exactly. We've got the perfect plan laid out, and then the motivation just vanishes.
And we're left wondering where all that energy went.
It's like Ron says, that initial excitement is like a gas.
Yeah.
It just dissipates unless we capture it.
So how do we capture it then?
Well, he believes the key is discipline.
But I think when people hear discipline, they imagine like a drill sergeant.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It sounds restrictive. But Ron's definition is actually pretty different.
Oh, how so?
He sees it as the consistent application of good habits, like making those choices that align with our values, even when we don't feel like it.
So it's not about forcing ourselves to do things we hate. It's more about understanding how small actions done consistently can make a big difference in our lives.
Exactly. And you know what? He even uses something as simple as taking a walk as an example.
Really? A walk?
I know, right? It sounds too simple. But think about it. Haven't you noticed how a walk can clear your head?
Sometimes. Yeah.
And boost your energy? Maybe even give you some new ideas.
Okay, I see what you mean.
Ron's point is that even this small act of discipline can ripple outwards into other areas of your life.
Hold on. He's suggesting that taking a walk could lead to, like, financial success?
Well, he believes that disciplines are interconnected. One good habit can create a domino effect.
Interesting.
Leading to other good habits. So maybe that daily walk leads to making healthier food choices, which gives you more energy and focus to, say, build a library or learn a new skill that helps you earn more.
So each positive action fuels the next one.
Precisely. And that brings us to another key idea Ron talks about, self-worth.
Yeah, I was just thinking about that. It's funny because so much of the self-help world is about affirmations.
Right, like you are amazing.
Exactly. But Ron's approach is different.
He says that true self-esteem comes from consistently doing our best, even in the small things.
So it's not about what we say to ourselves, it's about what we actually do.
Exactly. It's about aligning our actions with our values. So if we make a promise to ourselves, even a small one.
Like making the bed in the morning.
Sure. And we follow through, it reinforces our self-respect.
But on the flip side, if we're constantly letting ourselves down, even in small ways,
it can erode our self-trust.
So hitting that snooze button every morning isn't just about losing sleep.
It's about undermining our own self-belief.
I've never thought about it that way before.
It all adds up, doesn't it? Like those tiny cracks in a foundation.
Yeah, before you know it, the whole thing crumbles.
Exactly. And that's where I find Ron's message so empowering. He's not saying we need some massive life overhaul to change.
It's not about moving to a mountaintop to meditate for hours a day.
Nope, it's much simpler than that. It's about those small, consistent actions we take each day.
And I love how he brings it to life with real examples. Like, remember when he talked about getting a library card?
That's a classic Jim Rohn move. It seems so basic.
Right.
But he points out how few people actually do it. He says it's like joining the 3% who actually take action.
Interesting. So he's a big advocate for self-education.
Oh, absolutely.
Hmm.
He believes that knowledge is power and that by learning and expanding our understanding,
Yeah.
we can make better choices in every area of life.
That makes me think about all those books I've been meaning to read.
There you go. See? It's about taking those little steps
You know, it's funny how we tend to overcomplicate things.
all the time.
We think we need a perfect plan or some massive change to make progress when really...
It's those little consistent efforts that add up.
Exactly. It's like stop overthinking it and just do it.
Ron, in a nutshell, he's all about empowering us to take ownership of our lives. He's not saying it's easy,
Right.
but he is saying that change is within our reach.
Starting with that first step.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if it's taking a walk, getting a library card, or reading a few pages of a book.
It's that initial push to get the ball rolling.
Exactly. And, it's inspiring to hear Ron's message, but I'm always curious about the practical side.
Oh, me too. Like, how do these ideas actually play out in real life?
Right. So have you personally experienced the power of these small disciplines, like in your own life?
Honestly, it's been a game changer. I used to be the queen of starting projects with a ton of energy.
Oh, I know that feeling.
And then, poof, the motivation would disappear.
What helped you break that cycle?
Well, I started applying some of these principles we're talking about, focusing on small, consistent habits in areas that were important to me.
Makes sense. Not trying to do everything at once.
Exactly. And it wasn't about being perfect. It was about showing up consistently, even when I didn't feel like it.
So what kind of habits did you start with?
One of the first things was committing to writing for 30 minutes every morning, no matter what.
Even if it was just gibberish.
Pretty much. The point was to just do it consistently. And it's amazing how that one small discipline impacted other areas of my life.
You started seeing positive changes elsewhere, too.
It was like a chain reaction. By building that one discipline, it gave me the confidence and momentum to tackle other things I was putting off.
Like what?
Well, I started exercising more regularly, eating healthier, even being more proactive in my relationships.
Wow. So those small actions really did create a ripple effect throughout your life.
They really did. It was like each positive action fueled the next one, and pretty
You
soon...
got this upward spiral of positive change.
It's pretty amazing to see how these seemingly small, insignificant things can have such a big impact.
That's the power of consistency.
Right.
Right. It's not about these big sweeping changes or like overnight transformations.
Yeah, it's those little everyday choices that really add up over time.
They really do. So as we wrap up our deep dive into Jim Rohn's Time to Act, what's the one thing you hope our listeners take away from this?
Well, I think Ron's advice really boils down to this action, even in small things, is the key to unlocking potential and building a more fulfilling life.
It's not about waiting for the perfect moment or having some big elaborate plan.
It's about taking that first step, no matter how small it seems, and just building momentum from there.
Yeah, it's like he's saying stop overthinking it and just do it, but in a way that you can actually stick with, right?
Right, building those small disciplines that eventually just become second nature.
Exactly. It's about recognizing that those little choices we make every single day, they really do shape our lives.
And even those seemingly insignificant actions, when you do them consistently, they can have a huge impact on our well-being, our relationships, our success.
Definitely. To kind of help our listeners get started, maybe we can leave them with a question.
Okay, I like that. What question should we ask?
How about this? Think about the areas where you felt that diminishing intent. Maybe it's a fitness goal you've let slide, a book you've been meaning to read, or a skill you've always wanted to learn. What's one small discipline you could start today to reignite that spark? Something to create that ripple effect of positive change.
Ooh, that's a good one. And remember, you don't have to do it all at once.
Oh.
Just start small, be consistent, and trust the process.
I love it.
We'd love to hear about your journey. Until next time, keep diving deep.